This week, low-income communities can finally access quality medical service. But first, having survived a deadly armed conflict, he's now fighting a new enemy: joblessness. Building a life in a foreign country is never easy, especially adjusting to new surroundings, cultures, and language. It's even tougher if you were forced out of your home country due to political conflict. It's the reality of millions of refugees around the world. Now, here's a story of Somali national Saeed Mohamed. Although he initially arrived in South Africa as a means for survival, his stay here is benefiting our country immensely. Life as a Somali child wasn't always unbearable. In fact, young Saeed Mohamed's relatives had their fair share of prosperity.
We had our family, entrepreneurial kind of family before the wars. And I could, at a young age, I could happily manage my father's logistical company.
But in 1991, Somalia's political landscape shifted dramatically. Head of state Mohamed Siad Barre was forced out of power by warring factions. As a result, government collapsed and rival warlords drove the East African country into a deadly civil war.
And that is when I have decided that we have to flee the war and flee to somewhere where we can survive.
In the chaos, Saeed was separated from his parents, who found asylum elsewhere. Barely in his 20s, he had to act quickly.
I had already a colleague who was here in South Africa, who spoke good about South Africa. He says, this is a country where we are welcome and where we are doing well.
It wasn't easy for Saeed to flee East Africa. He grabbed any means possible, using cheap boats, buses, and even walking long distances. He arrived in Cape Town in 1998. Having escaped war, Saeed now had to survive in a country whose economy was still recovering from apartheid sanctions.
My colleague who was already here was doing a small kind of hawking in the streets. You know, he buys things, he sells it, and then that's how we used to make a living.
Along with a group of other Somali nationals, Saeed frequently traveled to Joburg, bought stock, and returned to Cape Town to sell.
They will be selling stuff in the train station, working like 14 hours. So they will only close their hawking when the last train stops, and they will go home. And they will be the first one also.
Saeed followed this routine for years, accumulating savings, experience, and a business network. In 2010, he joined this cash and carry in Johannesburg's Crown Mines. He became its human resources manager, tasked with meeting labor requirements and bringing in local employees.
So it was more hiring, training, upskilling them, orientation, workshops, and then grooming them.
And he said, look, let us empower people. Let us take, the young matriculant who is somewhere in the township. Let them work with us.
Hawking strengthened Saeed's business-oriented mind. HR at the cash and carry strengthened his administrative qualities. To further bolster his skills, he signed up for courses through the Gordon Institute of Business Science. This enabled him to leave the cash and carry to join Absa Bank in 2014. He now heads the bank's strategic relations team that helps with financial advice and formalizing foreign-owned businesses.
But I thought maybe the best could be to share some of my personal story, coming from a war-torn Somalia.
Developing small enterprises doesn't end with his work at Absa.
Starting everything from scratch does not mean that it was not without challenge.
It also starts here, where Saeed upskills local youth through workshops in trade and commerce.
South Africa is also very great entrepreneurs, so we want to do an exchange program.
I wanted to contribute back to the country and the people who welcomed me and gave me the space to restructure and rebuild my life.
His organization, Horn African Social Entrepreneurship of SA, partners with other local youth development programs. In a joint effort, they give students professional exposure and practical experience in running sustainable businesses.
Every time the name Saeed is mentioned at Wallet, it is received with a lot of excitement because his understanding for business and his ability to open doors for young people, young South Africans, that's what really drew us to him.
They developed us and our personal skills and stuff. So I learned things like personal branding, communication, personal mastery and so on. And that basically prepared us for the next journey, which was the entrepreneurial journey.
I learned that there's so much more that I really need to learn to run a business properly. There are a lot of statistical skills, a lot of finance skills, management skills, that if I had these skills, I can run this business so much better.
There you have it. Send us your feedback and let us know what you think. Against all odds at enca.com. You can also be in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook. Coming up. Is this the cure for our overburdened public health sector? Over the years, we've brought you inspirational people who've repeatedly demonstrated that prioritizing entrepreneurship will save our ailing economy. We also profiled visionaries who created health centers that are taking care of our nation's well-being. Now, we thought we should show you what happens when these two efforts are combined, how health professionals with an entrepreneurial spirit can take the lead. The kind of medical care you'd expect from an upmarket private clinic. Comfortable, personal, and efficient. The right tools meet well-trained staff for the benefit of underserviced communities.
When I'm here, when the doctor comes, I'm sure I'm going to get what I'm supposed to get at the clinic, and the doctor is nice to us also.
It's an innovative health concept known as Unjani clinics, where shipping containers fitted with the latest medical technology are rolled out to low-income areas. Charging only 180 Rand for consultation and medication, the service saves time, money, and lives.
They find this to be an affordable alternative, especially considering the fact that if you are going to be at your standing in the queue, you're losing your income for the day. So you see this as a better alternative.
Now that you've seen a fantastic system at work, let's introduce you to the man who came up with it. Dr. Ian Barton, an experienced medical professional based in Cape Town.
There was a number of different reasons why we put the concept of Unjani together. A firm belief as a clinician that if we want to change health outcomes at community level, we will do it through the empowerment and education of women. A fervent belief that if we're going to wait till we've got enough doctors to fix the health challenges of Africa, we're all going to be gone by then. And then lastly, it was this real confidence that there was an entire community out there that was both willing and able to pay for their own primary care if there was an affordable and accessible quality service.
Female empowerment, grassroots mobilization and affordability, solid building blocks for accessible health care. With funding coming from major corporate groups, logistical planning was the next step. Dr. Barton's team asked nurses to apply to run a clinic within the Unjani network. Candidates needed to have clinical expertise and an interest in entrepreneurship.
More than half the nursing sisters applying had actually left nursing. They're coming back to the profession they love because here is a way for them to practice their profession in a way that they believe it should be done.
After construction is complete and personnel identified, the clinic begins operating. All the profits go to the nurse who runs it independently. She is only required to pay a small admin fee to the parent company. But managers of the Unjani network don't just throw these raw businesswomen in the deep end.
We get that support and guidance on how we should be running our business. What does it mean to order stock, use stock, keep a record of it, financial management, financial prudence.
We have a network general manager who looks after them from an operational perspective. We have staff in our admin building who then manage it from a financial and administration perspective.
Since Unjani Clinic's founding in 2010, it has expanded into a network operating in 4 provinces. Its growing numbers are gradually helping relieve our overburdened public health sector.
We've got 23 clinics on the ground at the moment, and on average you're seeing about 8,500 people through the network. Bearing in mind that it is a single nurse-run clinic, so the patient numbers vary somewhere between 200 if it's a newer clinic, up to 1,000 if it's one of the older clinics.
This wasn't about trying to create a staff model of people that worked for us. This, at its core, was about getting people to work for themselves.
And that's a wrap for now. We'll be taking a break for a few weeks to revamp and improve your favorite show. In the meantime, we'll be bringing you some of the previous episodes that gave you a reason to believe in your beloved South Africa, a country we are all committed to building. My name is Mphola Gaje. Cheers.